Sonic Frontiers is very I don't know what it is, to be perfectly honest. You know, let's just get this introduction going. What's going on, everyone? Tallen here with 5-9 Direct, and I have to ask you all right now, if you are a Sonic fan or you've played any Sonic game in the past, A, what is your favorite Sonic game of all time, whether it's 2D, modern, you name it, and 2, do you think Sonic Frontiers has a chance? Whether it's the fact that it's coming out as the day right before something like God of War Ragnarok, which I know, different audiences, everything, or that it can be a good open world Sonic game, because that's what Sega has tried to market this as since we heard about it, since we saw all the lackluster trailers that were originally shown back in June and have surprisingly gotten better over time. And based on the footage we're about to show you here, because I was able to get a press pass at Tokyo Game Show on Friday, and I was able to record a ton of different people when they were playing the game. I got to talk to some people and what their thoughts about it were, what was their experience with, and I just got a lot of different perspectives of the game itself, whether it was the typical speed through the level Sonic, the open world, the boss battles, the combat, you name it. So let me know all your thoughts down below, and just what are your thoughts, because there's been a lot of different opinions and thoughts. Anyway, I want to talk about what I experienced when I got to play the demo at TGS, talk about what the rest of the people that I was able to record and what they thought about it, just kind of give my overall thoughts and opinions on it. But of course, if you want to know about everything that we do here on the daily with 5-9 Direct, make sure you follow us over on the 5-9 Direct Twitter, make sure you sub here, leave a like, do all that stuff, right? I know it's cliche to say, especially in 2022, but it is true. It really actually helps us if you guys leave a comment, if you like the video, because there's about 70% of you guys that don't subscribe to the channel, and we're super close to hitting 2,000 subs. So it'd be really helpful if you guys could do that. Of course, only if you enjoy the content though. I don't want to force you to do anything you don't want to, but if you happen to enjoy the content and you want to see more of it, again, we got a playlist and everything like that. And of course, sub to the channel if possible. So anyway, let's get into the Sonic Frontiers demo. As we know, Sonic Frontiers has been around, or at least announced, for quite a while, and we started to get a bunch of trailers around June-ish, give or take, late May, early June-ish, if I remember correctly, and they were pretty lackluster, the first couple of them. The third one actually opened people's eyes, and a lot of people, and including myself, were like, okay, I'm starting to see the concept. It's kind of an open world hub-ish type of area with some combat in there, some parts of it running around as your typical Sonic game, and then you open up gates to essentially go into your more classic Sonic level, you know, Green Hills, the whole 9 yards. But overall, a lot of people's thoughts on this game, unless you're some kind of die-hard Sonic fan, not the best per se, right? And then especially when they announced when it's going to be released and that they are refusing to delay this game, which a lot of people are like, this game's kind of rough, especially based on your trailers, maybe delay it by about 6 months or so. Sega's like, nope, we're going to release it. And you know, we're going to release it the same week as God of War Ragnarok, which again, I know, I even say at the very beginning of the video, 2 different audiences, but still, that's a hard sell to make to some people, especially if someone can only buy one game and they actually do keep up with gaming news and everything like that, especially because both of these games are modern video games these days. So they're going to cost between $60 to $70. And with the marketing that God of War has had and the impressive trailers and everything compared to Sonic's kind of lukewarm reception to its trailers, it's kind of hard to say how well it's going to do and everything like that. So anyway, let's take a look at this TGS demo. I'm assuming it's a demo. It didn't say beta on it, you know, because betas usually go towards more of a multiplayer style game. But regardless, I got to try the demo out at TGS, and I also got to get a lot of kind of press recording. I had my camera on a tripod and everything, and I just kind of went around and I recorded different people. I got to talk to them a little bit, kind of get their thoughts and opinions on it. People who are either from Japan, or I got to talk to some people who are from other countries, just kind of get a wide range of opinions, because some people might have liked one aspect of it and other people might have liked others. So I wanted to get as much information as I possibly could. So let's start talking about the demo and what we did though. So open up the demo, gives you your kind of typical introduction and everything, tells you how to run, how to jump, how to collect rings, and then it kind of introduces you to the open world with puzzles that we've seen from some of the trailers, where you just kind of like randomly step on certain switches, or where you had a multitude of blocks, and if you had to go over them in a certain order, and if you did it wrong, then you weren't able to either get a particular item or open up a path or anything like that. So they kind of introduce you to that, and then they kind of just let you go wild, essentially. So you're allowed to either go and defeat certain enemies if you want to, and kind of what I would call lackluster combat in my personal opinion, but again, we'll get into that in just a little bit. You can access some certain portals to then go into more traditional Sonic levels that we've seen, whether it's a combination of just 2D or 3D, or a mixture of 2D and 3D like we got to see in Sonic Generations, but originated all the way back in Sonic Unleashed. So take it what you will. So as the world is open up to you, you essentially can go do whatever you want within the demo's limit, obviously. So as you go around, you access to more classic Sonic levels like I introduced before, like Green Hills and this particular city level that you're seeing on screen right now. Basically, again, think Sonic Generations, a mix of 2D and 3D. As expected, these levels only take you around 2 to 3 minutes at most to finish because you're Sonic, you're going super fast, and that's pretty much common when it comes to these particular types of levels. Now, my hope though is that hopefully they have, I would say, around 50-ish of these levels. And I know I'm not saying unique 50 different locations and all that kind of stuff, because even in past games with the good ones like Sonic Generations or Sonic Colors or anything, they've taken a area that you've gone to before in the beginning, but then completely changed the actual area in that level that you're running around in or anything, whether it's reverse or mirrored, or, you know, you jump off one building to go this way and then the next time you're going this way or something like that, you know, who's to say? But regardless, hopefully they have a lot of these around. Otherwise, this game is not going to be very long. That's definitely something I'm personally a little worried about. Now, while getting to play the demo at TGS / get all the recording I was able to, there were 2 particular levels at TGS. We had the Green Hills, and then we had some kind of city level. Now, both levels, for the most part, I think were pretty easy, because you have to remember that a lot of people going to TGS are going to be at very different levels when it comes to games and everything, because this does open up to the public after Thursday and Friday. So you have to make sure that the levels aren't too hard, but you don't want to just make it like go straight the entire time, then you're done basically. So these were very fun, they're fast, they're frantic, and just a reminder of what a good modern Sonic game can be. Because most people, ever since Sonic Unleashed and Generations and Colors and all those other games came out, everyone, for the most part, mostly agreed that these were the highlights of the levels, right? Now, obviously, they're not perfect. They do have some camera issues sometimes, they're a little wonky, and also the lock-on feature is a little hit or miss sometimes as well. But overall, because you are going that fast, everyone still enjoyed the levels. You can get lots of different time races. You can try to hit a bunch of different records and everything, upload those online to see how fast you can beat your friends and everything like that. And for the most part, again, most people have liked that. And then when this game came out, everyone was like, wait, this is going open world. And what did everyone immediately compare this to? That is right, Breath of the Wild, because apparently Breath of the Wild is the only open world game, you know? And again, I'm mostly joking at that point. I know it's because you're taking something like The Legend of Zelda, and that's what they did with Breath of the Wild. They made it completely open world and everything like that. And then like everything else followed after that, right? Well, Sonic is in the kind of the same realm as Legend of Zelda, where Sonic is, you know, a very long-standing character. He's been around in a lot of games for quite a while, and it's them trying to fix up the formula, essentially. So we get to see that in this open world. Now, I will say that the detail in said demo here at TGS was definitely looking a lot better than it did in those trailers, that, especially those early ones that we saw ever since the summer and everything. I'm not going to say they're, you know, like, oh my gosh, blowing my mind, beating every other game graphics-wise or anything like that, but they still looked pretty good. However, they're still unfortunately kind of empty. And again, I've said this whether it's been Forspoken or any other game when it comes to kind of an open world setting. Your mileage may vary if you care about an open world being empty or not having much around it, or if it's empty in terms of having people and NPCs, then maybe there's a lot of stuff to do or to climb or to go around or see or anything like that. The open world for Sonic, and again, I don't know exactly how big it is, it's still on the very empty side. So I'm not really sure what they're going for. We'll have to wait and see when the game officially comes out. That's why I'm always going to say when it comes to games like this, wait to see what the reviews say and then probably spend the money, because you're not missing out on not playing the game day one or anything like that. Now, in terms of the open world, I have to talk about the camera, because I talked about the camera a little bit when it came to the more classic Sonic levels, whether it's a mix of 2D and 3D, and you're simply racing across the level until you finish, right? Overall, the camera and the controls seem to work for the most part, but you know, they are a little wonky here and there. Now, in terms of the controls and the camera for the open world section, that is a very different beast to tackle entirely. I talked to a bunch of people, and when I asked them what they thought about the controls and everything, they all, for the most part, agree that the camera was not the greatest, unfortunately. Whether it was running around in the open world or trying to lock on and fight the enemies that you are going to encounter throughout this open world, because they give you some combat options that we've seen through trailers and everything, whether it's simply kicking and punching or trying to run around a opponent and then that like lifts them off the ground or stuns them or however they react to that. And it's exactly what everyone kind of wanted slash what they thought it would happen when they got to actually play this demo and everything. Now, we don't know how old this demo is, but who's to say that it's only a couple months old? We're not really sure. Or it's the exact same demo that we saw the trailers from all the way back in June. It could be, we're just not really sure. They didn't really give us any details, and when I tried to ask, no one was able to give me a straight answer or anything, which again, I get it. It's more meant to just kind of show to the public and kind of give broad, basic information, and that's about it, right? So I have to just simply tell you what I got to talk with the other people who were playing and everything like that. And again, I want to say thank you so much to everyone who allowed me to capture the gameplay, whether it was from the big boss battle that you might be seeing on screen now or that we're going to talk about later, or just simply gathering about a minute of footage or give or take. Everyone was very nice and allowed me to capture as much gameplay as I possibly could to show you all back home what this game is going to be. Because as we all know, demos for the most part will show you a good chunk of what this game holds. Again, maybe not the story per se or anything, but in terms of what you can expect from gameplay, what you can expect from levels and everything, this basically shows you that. Now, one other thing I did want to talk about, kind of as a side note, were the graphics. These definitely feel very last gen, which kind of makes sense. I mean, this game is coming out on literally every system, including the Switch. I did get to see the Switch version just from a distance a little bit. They had some handheld switches. Again, they did this over with the Crisis Core demo as well. And basically, they did not have it set in the dock to then play on the TV. This is all in handheld mode, which kind of makes sense. It seemed to be fine for the most part, but again, the fact that this game already looks last gen and some of the rain physics, yikes, are not very good. Definitely tells me that the Switch one is definitely going to be a bit of a downgrade. Now, I don't know if the current gen stuff runs at 60 FPS and the Switch is only going to run at 30 FPS. I'm not really sure, especially for something like these running levels, though. We have to hope that they run at 60 FPS. We'll just have to wait and see. Now, one of the final things I want to talk about real quick is the boss. Now, we've all seen these from the trailers if you've kept up with this game at all. It was literally the giant three-armed boss, and you would run around his feet, and you basically somehow using that move, he just floats up into the air. I know it's most like he forced him up into the air, and then when he comes crashing down, his arm will come down, or one of the three arms will come down, and then you get a bunch of boost pads, essentially, or boost circles that will come down his arm, and the blue ones allow you to propel up the arm while the red ones will push you back, essentially, right? And the more you do this, the harder and harder it gets until you finally take out the boss. Now, one of the guys that I was able to talk with a little bit, and I also got a bunch of gameplay from him, shout out to him again, for allowing me to capture over 3 minutes of him trying to fight the boss and everything. He probably, I think it was his second time actually fighting him, or because he might have gone back in line and tried again, but he was telling me that the boss, while not hard by any means, it has a very short window when trying to target the particular weak spots of said boss to beat him. This comes down again to those kind of controls in the camera that we talked about earlier, where they're not in the greatest spot. So hopefully they've been able to fix those. We're not really sure, but if past Sonic games are anything to tell us, they probably haven't, because they're, again, just how fast you're potentially trying to move or anything like that, it doesn't seem to lock on as well as we might want it to. So hopefully, again, that's fixed when it comes to especially these boss battles. They just seem very basic, though. I mean, I don't think anyone's expecting these to be like hardcore, crazy, hard bosses or anything like that. But for the most part, they're just kind of basic big bosses. You run around and, you take down the big boss. It's meant to look big and spectacular and everything. It's not meant to be this crazy hardcore boss or anything like that. So hopefully they've mixed it up, though. And again, this is just more of a very beginning level of the boss, but I don't know if this means we're going to be doing this exact same type of boss throughout the entire open world part of the game. It wouldn't surprise me if we see a lot of them. I'm not saying they're all going to be like that, but past games and how these general open world games are made, it wouldn't surprise me. Even Breath of the Wild itself, when it came to like those 200 plus dungeon style like caves that you would enter, most of them were pretty much the same. Like, they all had a different type of puzzle you had to solve and everything, but for the most part they were pretty small and they were kind of all the same. No one can deny that, really. So it wouldn't surprise me if this particular type of boss character that you fight, which is probably then used to unlock either certain areas or new levels of a more traditional Sonic game, are the, you're just gonna have to beat a bunch of them and everything like that. Or there's maybe 2 or 3 different styles of them, and regardless, you're gonna fight like 15 or 20 of them. It's hard to say. Again, I wasn't able to get much information from anyone that was on the floor in terms of people from Sega, but we'll just have to wait and see. So again, after being able to play this game though, talk with everyone, it seems this game is going to be good, but it's still kind of the same stuff we've come to expect from a modern Sonic game. Unfortunately, now just kind of throwing in this open world that's barren, the combat's kind of lackluster, the camera doesn't work the greatest, and I don't know, we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen with this game after it releases. Is it going to be good? I'm sure a lot of people are going to love it. Sonic's very popular, especially because of how well the movies did. But a good character or a good movie does not mean that the game is going to be good as well. I could be completely wrong. Maybe this open world, maybe what they're showing us is just like the tip of the iceberg and everything works really well. But again, why not show some of that, right? That's what it kind of everyone said when these trailers came out originally, was that, why are you showing us this barren, stripped down version of your game and everything like that? Like, we know you're not supposed to show off every little thing. You got to keep some suspense and all that kind of stuff. But why did you show these lackluster trailers, and then by the third one, you actually showed something that everyone's like, oh, this actually looks kind of good and everything. So it's kind of weird how Sega's doing this. Again, I'm not really sure who's saying and who's giving the okay to play this or allow people to see this, but it should be interesting to see nonetheless when this game releases. So I asked you guys at the very beginning of the video, do you think this game is going to do well, especially when it releases, because Sega refuses to delay it? Like I said, some of the graphics, they definitely look last gen. There didn't seem to be any frame hiccup for the most part, unless, you got some crazy camera stuff going around. But I don't know how well this is really going to run. Is it polished to a T? We'll just have to wait and find out. So let me know your thoughts down below. Do you think this is going to do well? Or do you think this will flop? Or will this kind of just do as normal as most Sonic games do? Like, it'll sell well, but it's not going to be like crazy, oh my gosh, the next level of Sonic is now open world and everything. Because again, the open world stuff feels very just basic and generic in my personal opinion. And when I talked with the other people that were on the floor that are playing the game themselves, they all kind of agreed to the same extent. They all loved, we all loved, the normal levels that were your typical 3D into 2D and all that kind of stuff, again on Green Hill in the city. But overall, we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments as always, guys. I want to know your opinions on this game. Are you going to be picking it up? Are you going to wait for a sale? Let me know all your thoughts down below. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like if you happen to like it. And again, sub if you happen to be new to the channel. We're super close to 2,000 subs. And follow us on the 59 Direct Twitter account. We get to see what's on the daily, and that's where we post a lot of little clips, pictures, you name it, whether we go to events, the whole 9 yards. Anyway, I've been Tallen with 59 Direct, everyone. We'll see you in the next one. Johnny.